What's up, everybody? This is tutorial, I guess number 8 for 8 robots because we're at the end. This is the last of 8 robots to learn for Mega Man 4 any percent for the speedrun. Again, just like before, we're going to talk a little bit about all 3 strats, beginner, intermediate, and advanced. A lot of people consider this stage to be, I guess you could say, the easiest. Most people, whenever they played this game casually, actually start with Toad because he's just the boss fight himself, very, very easy. So a lot of people like to start here because they get a weapon right off the bat. Um, I will say this for the definitely casually, obviously a great strat. Um, but for the speed run, since Toad's weapon is very, very, very limited to where it has good use, it's not really ideal for the speed run. So we end up doing him last, and that ends up being just sort of a happy accident, actually, with regards to the route, since you follow a weakness order once you get the main weapons that you want to use, like Balloon and Pharaoh and all that kind of stuff. Um, I know there's been a lot of talk about somehow maybe working him in so that you could potentially make the Bright Man fight faster, but unfortunately, because of how useful Pharaoh Shot is on Bright Man for the really quick times in this game where they go with Pharaoh first, my route, you actually kill Bright Man faster using Pharaoh Shot than you actually would with Toad's weapon. So the downside with regard to how slow Toad's weapon is, kind of unfortunately makes the weapon a little less versatile. So we're gonna actually talk, starting off with the stage here. The stage, despite the fact that Toadman's fight is very easy, his stage can be deceptively difficult, just because of a lot of the moving water sections and the rain in the first screen. If you're not ready, or if your movement is slightly off, you can end up causing yourself to jump from maybe a location that's not quite right and fall to your death. So we're going to look at some easier strats here for Toad first, just like we always do. And then from there, we'll sort of talk as we go screen by screen about the different dangers of. So let's take a look. Okay, so let's talk about this stage. Specifically, I'm going to mention what went wrong there when I mashed all those drills at the end. That's actually something I really actually want to point out and talk about. Okay, so first screen of Toadman stage, we're going to, just like a lot of other stages, Bright's weapon is going to be basically the overpowered weapon of this stage, just like a lot of the other ones since we got Bright's weapon. The only thing that you really need to note about this first screen is the rain is falling to the left. So whenever you jump, this rain is going to actually push you back a little bit. It's going to slow your horizontal movement if you're jumping into the rain. If you're jumping against the rain, or with the rain, I mean, sorry, you'll actually get a boost. But unfortunately, you don't ever want to do that because we're always moving to the right in this screen. The idea here in this screen is just change to bright and then flash the screen and try to slide as best as you can here. Slide as much as possible. Now, for a new runner, as soon as you come out of this slide, I recommend not doing another slide because if you're not confident in this jump location of jumping here, you can actually get caught under this ledge and the game will like make you slide off and fall into this pit and die. So for a newer runner, I just recommend just walk up after that last slide which ends about here and jump onto this platform. Now you noticed how the rain affects my jump here. So I'm going to jump and it like sort of slows the movement down. Again, we're going to do one slide here and we're just going to walk to the edge. Now I inch forward to make sure I can make this jump. You see where my standing point is. I've got 1 foot still on the platform, so I'm very safe. I'm not really close that I'm going to fall in. And I can just jump from there. And if I hold right and do a full jump, I'll make it to this ledge every time. Again, 1 slide, play it safe. Now, because I haven't been doing a lot of slides, my flash stopper is going to wear off. So just get ready somewhere around either back here or around here to reflash the room. And then you're going to jump across here. Again, this could be deceptively dangerous, this jump, because it looks like it's not that bad of a jump, like it's a short jump, and you're going down, so you don't even need to hold A as long. But again, with the rain, you need to hold A longer than you think so that you'll actually jump, and the fact that it's going against you and pushing you back won't kill you in the pit. Then here, it's just 3 slides, so slide there, slide there. You'll come out of this second slide about this last tile. If you walk off this ledge, you'll die. The rain will not allow you to just hold right and make this ledge. However, if you slide off this ledge and hold right, you will make this ledge every time. So what I recommend, even for a beginner runner, is do 3 slides here. If you really don't feel comfortable sliding off this edge, you can jump. But if you're going to jump, you might as well slide because you're still pressing A. And if you slide off, it's even easier because then you don't have to worry about holding A too short or too long to make this jump. You just slide off and you'll make it every time. So that makes that sort of third jump pretty free. And then you just jump up here, slide all the way into the screen. This room is really simple. Just slide off or slide and do a small hop depending on how optimized you feel like you can make your movement. I recommend for a newer runner probably just slide off that edge and fall into the next long screen. Okay, so this screen, again, we're probably going to be using about 2 flashes in this room. So we're going to freeze the room as soon as I enter the screen, do 1 slide, and kill this rat here. Now, these rat have 2 hit points with bright active. So you want to shoot twice, and then you want to shoot 2 more times while trying to still slide here a little bit. You want to try to slide as much as you can when you're not near these edges, okay? So here you notice I took it really safe, and I didn't do another slide here. You can even do another slide if you're confident with your, if you jump before this ledge. But here I even played it safe, and I just walked this whole way just to make sure that I can time my jump. Sometimes this second rat will drop an ammo refill, and that can throw off your movement when you pick it up. And I think I'll show that in one of the other tutorials. I think it's the intermediate one. Definitely walking through this makes it a lot easier that you don't accidentally mistime a jump when you're sliding and fall into this pit. Here, just jumping up a couple times or once if you can get him once on the way down to kill this rat. Jumping up, shooting twice again to kill this one. You can slide twice here because you'll just land down here. Just walk there. Now, depending on your movement, your flash stopper might wear off back here. It might wear off here. It might wear off here, like you can see this guy's going to drop down on me. But I'm already past him. What I might recommend for a newer runner is even just wait. Wait down here and wait for this guy to unfreeze and then refreeze the room. And if he's in your way, just kill him. It's not that big a deal. That way, you don't have to worry about jumping and him unfreezing and hitting you as you're like trying to jump across. It shouldn't happen, but just in case, it's always nice sometimes to play it a little safe when you're newer to the game. Here, you can land here and do 1 slide. I did it a little late there. You probably would want to slide as soon as you landed. That way you come out of your slide somewhere around here as opposed to closer to the edge. But if you don't want to slide here, you can always just walk on these platforms. You don't ever have to feel, again, for a new runner, that you need to slide on every platform. Jumping across here, shooting that rat, sliding as much as we can. We're going to do slides off all these platforms, slide off that. We don't really touch it for very long because we're just brushing it. And then as soon as you land here, just walk up here and jump up onto the step, shoot this rat twice, and then slide all the way into the screen transition. So that room it's kind of tricky because the waterfalls, again, sort of like the rain here. Let's find a good image here. Okay, so like these waterfalls are coming down. This water is obviously pushing you this way, so it's gonna resist your movement towards the right. But then this waterfall is moving right, so it's actually gonna speed you up. So something to be careful of is when you are walking on these platforms to jump to the step, you might actually find that you need to jump a little sooner than you think because you're moving at a faster speed than you normally would on normal ground. So keep that in mind. These waterfalls can be kind of tricky, and if you are going to jump on these platforms, also be aware that if you jump underneath the waterfalls will actually push you down. So you can't really jump very high under these things. I think you maybe jump like one tile high and then it pushes you back down. So keep that in mind also if you're trying to like do a jump to kill these rats or something and you end up under a waterfall. That's something to be very aware of. But again, the movement's pretty straightforward, and play this room as safe as you feel comfortable doing it. Really is my best advice. This room, nothing special. Now, I'm going to talk about something in the intermediate tutorial a bit about these snails and the possibility of soft locks. But for a beginner runner, basically what you want to do is when you fall into these rooms with the snails for these mini boss fights, is just mash B as you're doing this transition. That guarantees that you freeze the room here before the snail lands, because the impassable wall behind the snail that prevents you from going to the next screen before killing the snail does not spawn until the snail touches the ground. So just mash B as you fall into this screen and you'll nail it every time. That way, he's stuck up here, the wall doesn't spawn, you can just jump up into him, you'll take a hit, and then as soon as you can move again, just try to either, if you get knocked down, jump back up and slide, or if you are still on the platform, just slide as fast as you can to the transition. And that's how you skip these bosses. Essentially, you're just freezing them with Bright and then deboosting through them to get through the screen. Now we're at the checkpoint room, just slide through that. This room, you can do a couple different things now. If you're finding that you're low on Bright, which you might if you're a newer runner because you use it a little more in a couple other screens, you don't actually need to use Bright here. Now I'm going to fall all the way down, use Bright, and I'm going to kill this rat so I can slide down here and go faster. But you can also just hold left in this screen and land on this platform and then slide off this and go down to the next screen. That way you don't have to kill this rat or waste you save 4 ammo by doing that with Flash Stopper. So there's a couple different options for this room. Just sort of play it by ear again. If you feel confident about your movement and you're not going to run out of ammo, then definitely go for this slightly faster here by killing this rat and sliding. The reason it's mainly faster is actually the waterfalls make you fall faster. So if you can stay in the waterfall and then shoot this guy, you're sliding to the left with the speed of the waterfall, and then again the waterfall pulling you down, as opposed to getting here, moving at normal slide speed, and then starting your fall here and moving at normal fall speed as opposed to with waterfall speed. So that's something to also keep in mind here. Again, second mini boss, we're going to mash B again. And what I do into this room is I just hold right. Just hold right and mash B. You'll freeze the snail. As soon as I land in the water, I move maybe about half a tile. It's very, very minor. And then you see I'm like jumping almost immediately. Now, I'm going to do the beginner strats here without back deboost. So again, if you're going to get hit by this snail, this is the one scary spot for some people where they're really concerned that this waterfall pit could kill them. But if you're really confident with this jump, just hold right into this screen, walk about just a tiny little bit, like just practice that slight hesitation and then jump. You can just jump right into the snail, and notice I'm still on the ledge. My other option is, if I get hit here, hold left. If I hold left after taking damage, I'll either just... the two things will happen is I'll either just walk off the ledge down to here, and then I can jump back up and slide through with my iframes, or Holding left will just cause me to, if I get knocked off, hopefully be able to like regain control and move to the left here. Then getting knocked off this ledge, if you you should never ever get knocked off and down this pit. The only way that would happen is if you are holding right. And basically what causes that is your knockback would knock you back to this edge, and then you would hold right and walk into the waterfall and fall down and die. So realistically speaking, as long as you, if you really want to be careful, you can hold left on this, and it should drop you down to this ledge, and then you can jump up and slide through. Or just wait and see even if you fall off or don't fall off, and then decide from there what you plan to do. It's really up to you. But this is one of the scarier spots for a new runner just because of the waterfall and the physics and how it works. So just be prepared depending on what happens to react here. This might take a little bit of practice for a newer runner. But the strategy is still the same. Freeze the snail, deboost, and then slide into the transition. And now we're already in the last screen. So here, all I'm going to do here is, there's going to be a bunch of spikes here. So for a new runner, again, if you're scared of slide jumps, we're gonna cut those out. So you're going to see me do one here because if I slide and fall here, I'm not going to die. So I might as well do one here. As soon as this fish jumps, I'm going to freeze the room. And now we're just going to walk on all these platforms. No big deal. If the fish unfreezes, which he should here if you're not sliding, just be prepared to refreeze the room. Now, there's a potential for you when you get to this screen to be out of Flash Stopper, okay? If that happens, remember the beginner strat that I talked about in Drill Man at the end of the stage for rocks. You can change to Skull Crusher. You can do that here as well, and then just use a new Skull Crusher, and every time the fish will jump at you, they'll kill themselves on the Skull Crusher, and then you just use a new one, and that will get you through this room safely as well. So if you're finding that you're getting to this screen with no more Flash Stopper, then I recommend doing that as a backup. But for this room, you should be able to just refreeze these guys, and no slides, and easily just walk and jump, make these jumps safely, without the enemies bothering you too much. And that's the end of the stage, and then we're at everybody's favorite easy boss, Toadman. So Toad is weak to drill. Basically, if you didn't know how Toadman works, the idea here is Toadman has an attack that is undodgeable. It hits the entire screen. However, if you are shooting at him, he will never use it. In fact, when you press B, if he's doing his sort of dance to use his unavoidable attack, if you press B, it will either do one of two things. It'll either stop him, depending on the timing. Sometimes if you time it like right when he starts the dance, he actually won't jump. But basically the idea here is you want to keep pressing B so that he never does that. Now, in some ways, that's good if you want to, like, in theory, quote unquote, mash. But I don't recommend mashing for this fight because drill actually lags the game. So what I recommend doing is just practicing timing shots so that you're not hitting shots into his iframes. And so every time you press B, he's going to jump at you. Hence the, I guess, name Toadman. They wanted to make him jump a lot. So for the beginning of this fight, Toadman's not going to do anything. He's just going to stand here. If you wait too long, he will use his unavoidable attack. So what we're going to do is we're just going to force him to jump at us, and he'll always jump at Mega Man right to his position, unlike a couple of the other bosses like Skullman, where you can kind of manipulate his jumps. This one, you can still manipulate his jumps, but this time he's going to jump at you every time, so you need to be moving. So for this beginner tutorial one, I'm going to actually show you how to do this fight without slides. If you're not comfortable using slides for dodging and maneuverability, you can still do this fight without dodging. Without sliding. So at the beginning of the fight, we're going to jump up. I jump up to about this location here, and I fire a drill. That's going to cause Toadman to jump, and he's going to jump all the way over here at my position here. He's going to land probably about here. So that hits him as he comes over to me, and I'm just going to keep walking right, and that makes it so that he's going to jump over top of me and miss me. Then I hit him again before he sort of becomes active to choose to jump again, hence why he didn't jump there. Now he's put his hands up, he's going to start doing his move, but because I pressed B again, he stopped. Again, keeping him in iframes. Now I pressed B a little bit before he started a dance, so that caused him to jump. Again, ideally here you would just walk underneath, you wouldn't need to actually do this jump, so I actually got hit here because I I did too big of a jump. But no big deal. I just turn and shoot him again with my iframes active. The idea here really is to just try to stay near the center, just like every other boss. We want to kill bosses near the center, and we want to manipulate Toadman to the middle. So just sort of like keeping him close to the middle. And if you can if you're comfortable with that dive man fight of how you have to stay close to him with Skull Crusher, you can do this fight very similar, where you just sort of stay close to Toad. He'll always do big arcing jumps, so it gives you plenty of time to move to the other side underneath him when he jumps at you. So that's sort of, I'll just show this again. Jump up shot, hit him, and he's just going to do big jumps when we press B. You can manipulate him to jump more if you prefer by pressing B more often, like I said, but just be aware that you're going to get more lag from drill if you do that. Okay, something else I see a lot of new runners do is after they kill a boss, maybe they've gone to the middle of the room, they're prepped ready for the fanfare, they've even got the magic pixel, they're sitting there, and they're just waiting for the death sprites to leave the screen. They start firing off a couple shots. They get a little trigger happy, and they start firing off some whatever ammo they've got equipped. I want to warn people this because there's definitely a potential for lagging the game when you do this. Every once in a while, I'll still do it, but it's usually on like non-RTA attempts. I'll usually do it in like maybe a marathon or some form of a race or whatever, just because it's not that big of a deal. It might be mere frames. However, in the Toadman fight specifically, you have drill equipped. And drill, like I said, has a weird effect of lagging the game and actually preventing the game timer from continuing to sort of like tick. So very similar to how Flash Stopper is paused while sliding, this fanfare can actually be delayed if you mash through your drills. So you're going to notice here that this death animation sprite is just about to leave the screen. It's gone. I should be getting my fanfare now and, getting my weapon animation and then coming down and teleporting out. However, if I keep mashing drills, the animation is delayed, in fact, until I stop. Until I stop firing drills, I actually delay that animation and fanfare. So this is something very important, that if you are killing Toad, do not fire any extra drills, especially after, not only will you lag the game, but especially after, as the sprites are just about to leave the screen, because you're going to delay the fanfare, and you're actually going to get out of the stage later than you could have if you had just stood there. So this is something that some people might not know, but just be aware of, so that you're not costing yourself, precious seconds when you're trying to save, just enough time to get a new PB. And that's really it. So that's some of the really basic mechanics and sort of manipulations for this stage and boss. So now let's take a look at the intermediate strats. A lot of these strats are going to be basically, again, more optimal movement, because the stage itself can't really get much different based on how the movement is with Flash Stopper. Basically, the idea here is to equip Bright and go through the entire stage with Bright, and the better you do it, the faster you'll go, obviously. So in the intermediate strats you're going to see now, it's going to be very similar strats, but now again with just trying to tighten up the movement and be a little bit quicker. So again, just like the beginner, actually, before I talk about these screens here, I'm just going to let this play through, and then we'll go back and we'll talk about the screens. All right. Let's look at these different screens here now. You notice that a lot of the movement now is getting a little bit tighter. We're putting in more slides just to try to extend that flash stopper, and we're getting a little more risky in some of these screens. So again, just like before, we're changing to flash stopper right off the bat, freezing this room. Now the idea is to try to get through this room if we can on one flash. So we're going to try to slide as much as possible. Still going to play this one a little safe. We're just going to walk, make that jump. Here though, we're going to try to do 2 slides. Now, again, here's my visual cue, right, with the hand. Jumping out to make this jump. 2 slides, short jump, and again, 3 slides, because we can slide right off of this platform and hold right and make that every time. Now, flash stopper wore off here near the end, but my movement was good enough I was able to get to the screen transition without needing to use another one. I still get a little lag if I don't get to the end of the screen before these enemies start moving, but it's still faster than having to, and ideal, better than having to waste another shot. So you save it for more of the stage. Again, really basic room, just gonna slide, do a little jump here. Okay, so here, we're gonna try to do more slides in this section with the waterfalls. Now, again, you wanna freeze the screen as soon as you enter. 2 shots to kill this guy, couple shots here for the next rat. Now, this is that drop I was talking about in the beginner tutorial. If this guy drops an ammo drop, it can be really scary for your movement. So I still recommend, even for an intermediate runner sometimes, to just do, after that slide, just walk and wait to see what this guy drops, because if he drops an ammo and you're sliding, it can be very hard to time it. In fact, if I get a drop in this section when I'm doing even my advanced strats, I hold left to make sure I don't slide off this ledge, and that allows me to like stop and then jump across safely. Because obviously this is the 8th robot. You don't want to be taking a death to something so minor. Again, shooting this rat, getting as much slide as you can here. Now the important thing here to note, compared to the beginner strats, since we didn't do a lot of sliding here, the most important thing here is, you notice that this waterfall is coming down here and the water's coming down here. I need, because remember how I talked about jumping underneath waterfalls in the beginner tutorial? You need to be jumping. You notice here where I jump out of this slide here. See where I jump? I jumped right here. This is really important. You cannot get under this waterfall and jump, because you will not be able to jump up here. You need to jump back here. That allows you to jump in front of this waterfall and actually land to the ledge. If you try to jump out of your slide underneath this waterfall, you can sometimes get caught underneath this ledge, just like in the first screen, and you'll get pulled under. So it's very important to jump before those waterfalls. Killing this rat with a bullet slide as you go through him, sliding off this ledge. I recommend, again, for an intermediate, don't slide on this one, just like the beginner, just walk and jump. And then we're gonna do 1 slide and walk and jump again, killing the next rat coming up. And again, I do a little hop here all the way down to this spot here. I wanna try to basically jump and like catch this waterfall to pull me down really quick, basically, is what I'm looking for here. And then a quick slide, and again, jumping right about here as opposed to closer to the edge. That way, I'm not risking this waterfall pulling me down. And sliding to the end of the screen. So nothing too fancy. It's just you have to be very careful on the movement so that those waterfalls don't, unfortunately, ruin a run. Okay, so this room, again, I'm going to recommend just mashing B. You can time it, but timing it isn't really overly necessary, since you just have to press B before the snail hits the ground. So I talked about in the beginner tutorial how I was going to explain how this soft lock works, and now I'm kind of going to talk about it. So there is one basically bad frame where you can soft lock on these snail mini bosses. Depending on the depending on what you do when you fall into the screen, will actually change when the frame happens, if that makes sense. So the frame actually is when this snail comes all the way down and lands on the ground. There's like a frame where it sort of like freezes the game for like a split second. It like locks Mega Man in place and he can't do anything. So when this snail touches the ground and Mega Man's on the ground, it's like the moment this guy touches, if you press B the moment basically the snail hits the ground and like forms, this will soft lock the game. Now, the reason I say that it's the same frame, but it can happen in different times, is because if you pause, if you change weapon, let's say I'm on Buster here, and I actually paused now and changed to bright now, for whatever reason, because I menued and I'm falling from a menu, that frame actually happens on the first frame that Mega Man enters this screen. So it's kind of a weird mechanic, and I'm not really sure why the game has this rule, but basically what happens is the first frame in the screen, then if you did that, Mega Man would become inactive, just like he is when the snail hits the ground and he's inactive on the ground down here. So just be aware that the two different times you can get a soft lock here is basically when the snail hits the ground, if you just jump into the screen with bright equipped, or if you pause as you're falling into the screen transition and change to bright, the very first frame that the snail spawns. So if you are doing the mashing strat and you're just trying to mash B as the snail falls in, do not do that if you pause and change to bright as you're falling into the screen, because you could soft lock if you hit B on the first frame. However, if you're already on bright and then you jump into the screen transition, you cannot soft lock by mashing. The first frame doesn't matter. It'll be when the snail lands. So that's something to be very aware of when you're trying to do this. So again, for this strat, as soon as I hit the ground here, I'm just going to do a full jump. And now the idea here to get the back D boost is as soon as you're sort of overhanging the lip of this edge, just press left. The snail's hitbox is actually pretty big. It sort of overhangs this sort of section here, but it's kind of weird. It's like it's kind of down a bit, like it's kind of a small hitbox. So you actually can jump from down here over top of the hitbox, and then you just press left, and as you fall on fall onto it, and then you'll get back damage boosted onto the ledge like that, as opposed to having to get knocked back and jump back up again to slide through. You're gonna see it again, quick slides in these rooms, and then you'll see it again here on the next snail. Again, holding right, just like before, freezing the room as we come in, jumping up. Now the hitbox for the snail is right here. You notice here I didn't get my left input in time, so I actually got hit before I was able to turn. But still on the ledge, actually missed my slide there and jumped on accident, but we slide into the screen, no real problem. And now, just like the last room, we're gonna slide off this guy, jump up, and we're gonna try to freeze the room before this guy jumps. This guy, if you don't freeze the room before this guy jumps, he'll actually jump high enough to hit you here and knock you either down into the water, or if you back deboost it fast enough, you can land up here, but that takes pretty precise timing. So we always freeze the room after this first slide, and that gives us maximum amount of basically hoping doing it that late will allow us to get through the entire room on one flash, basically. And this time, instead of doing safe walking jumps, we're gonna do slide jumps across all these platforms if we can. So slide, slide. We're going for all the risky stuff, including I'm even gonna get this slide and then slide cancel, because once again, we're underwater. So this is the one spot in Toad stage where you have to be aware that you can't jump out of your slide here. You have to cancel it. You see me do this really quick wiggle where I turn left and then I jump to the right. And then again, sliding on these as much as I can, sliding. The idea is to get to the door before these guys unfreeze. So notice that fish didn't even move by the time I hit the door. That's really good movement. You might find that that's still hard to do, and you might end up using two flashes in that room, but it takes practice. Just try to slide on every one of those platforms, and it's not too bad. You'll get it. And then again, Toadman, easy boss. This time, we're gonna use some slides to dodge him, which makes him even easier. Once again, starting the fight with a jump shot. Now we're just gonna slide out of the way, shoot him again as he lands, shoot him again. I wanna jump over here because I wanna manipulate him to land right in the center of the screen if I can. So you notice that I sort of like jumped over and then shot. And then we're gonna slide under him again, wait for him to land, and finish him off in the center of the screen. And that's pretty much that in a nutshell. So the stage is a little harder, but basically the idea is there's not a whole lot of difference between the beginner and the intermediate. and the advanced, honestly. It's just more optimal movement to make Flash Stopper, utilize Flash Stopper to its maximum potential, basically, is the idea. And we didn't mash our drills this time, so we didn't waste a whole bunch of time waiting for the fanfare to start. Okay, so now let's look at the advanced strats for Toad, and then we'll take a look at the screens. Alright, so you're going to see that this stage looks very similar to the intermediate strats, actually. So room 1, again, is basically identical, except now we're trying to optimize our movement so that the room does not unfreeze at all. So you're going to see all the exact same movement, all the same slides, except we're going to even add this little one here. Remember before I just walked here and jumped up, just like both the beginner and intermediate? This time I'm going to slide up to this and jump before I get caught onto this ledge. Continuing 2 slides, 1, 2, 3 slides, and then just get out of the screen as soon as possible. You notice the enemies didn't even start moving yet. That's how good my movement was. Easy room again. Now, room number 2. This room is going to be very, very close to the intermediate strats, except there's going to be a couple added slides here. So this, again, we're sliding once, shooting this guy twice. Now we're gonna, instead of shooting this guy from really far away, I'm actually gonna slide right up into his face, shoot him twice, and then slide through. So this is where the danger lies with this rat. If he drops ammo, this jump is very likely gonna kill you if you aren't really careful when timing your jump after the item drop. Now this time I get no item, so it's okay. Shoot once on the way down to kill this rat, and twice, you hit him the second time on the way back up. Getting a slide here, slide there. Now, intermediate, we walked this. This time, we're going to slide here. Now, remember what I said about getting caught under these waterfalls, like right here? So when you slide here, you need to actually, it's pretty short slide. You just want to do a short slide, and look where I'm jumping from is right here. A lot of people think you actually have to slide cancel in these waterfalls. That's actually not true. You can jump out of your slide in these waterfalls. You just have to make sure that you jump soon enough so that you aren't caught in this waterfall and not dragged down into the pit. So again, one slide here, and then you see, and I'm doing another short slide just like I did back here, another really short one, and doing another, again, jumping before I get caught too close to this waterfall and pulled down. So this section, those little 2 slides can be a little tricky, and you just have to be really cautious. If you're really not comfortable doing them, just walk again, just like the intermediate strats, but if you are looking to try to save some extra frames, you can squeeze in those little tiny micro slides, and it adds up over the span of the run. Again, jumping up, shooting once, and then bullet sliding to start moving towards the rat and killing him. Sliding down here, 1 slide there. Remember to jump before you get to the end, obviously. And kill the rat with bullet slides and move on. Once again, we got through this entire room without the room unfreezing, so that's very good movement again. Coming into this room, just like the intermediate one, we're going to freeze it. And then I'm going to jump up, back deboost, and slide through. So still nothing new. One thing to mention is, with a lot of the advanced strats, you see me slide to edges and do little jumps to try to optimize your fall speed to be increased sooner so that you can get to the bottom of the screen faster. This is one of the few places where that is slower. The fastest strat here is to actually just stay in the waterfall, slide over here, and slide off the edge and hold left. The reason for that is because the waterfall will drag you down faster. Whereas if you do a little jump out of the waterfall, you'll actually start falling faster, but you'll fall, that time where you jump up and fall to the waterfall ends up slowing you down more than sliding off this edge and having the waterfall drag you down. So in Toad stage, it's one of the few places where you actually do want to slide off this edge and turn left and let the waterfall drag you down. And then again here, killing that guy, and same thing, sliding off this ledge and just turning back to the right and letting the waterfall drag you down. Same strat here, we're gonna land here, do a really tiny slide. You don't even have to do that slide, it's very, very minor, but you can do it. And then jumping up, turning before you get hit here by this hitbox that's about here, taking the back deboost and sliding to about here. Now, you don't have to do this jump, but it's kind of nice because you can actually do a jump here and land on this ledge and just slide on. Otherwise, you'll slide here and you might like bonk into this, or you can just slide and jump up here if you want to do it here. But it's kind of nice to do the little jump in the room before, and that guarantees that you'll land on this guy and just start your sliding again. Also, again, remember freezing this before the fish jumps, and now sliding to the end as quickly as possible. Again, going for the slide cancel, I actually messed it up here. You notice I turned left and turned right, but I pressed A too early, so I didn't actually jump, and I had to press A again. That's the idea. You see me turn left, turn right, and try to get that jump off ASAP. And then jumping up and into the door. Once again, the fish doesn't move, so it means my movement is really good. Okay, so there's some very minor optimizations there, but the intermediate and the advanced strats are going to be pretty similar just because you really can't do anything overly different because you're utilizing Flash Stopper. Okay, so the only real difference now between the previous two fights that I've showed and this one is we're going to try to optimize our movement in this fight again. So remember what I talked about in the beginner and the intermediate fights is that drill shot, when it explodes, it lags the game. Something that is kind of weird with this game is if you are sliding when the drill explodes, you're going to get a lot of lag frames. So what we want to try to do is actually optimize our movement in a way so that when there's a drill on screen exploding, we want to try to like, if we need the slide, we want to slide, but we want to kind of like do our best to not be moving left or right. So we want to like get to a location where we know is safe, where Toad won't hit us, and then stop the slide so that we are not moving and we just want to stand still, and that will reduce lag frames. So again, we're going to start this fight. I'm going to try to show that off where we jump up, shoot. Now notice I'm standing in this spot. Now the drill's exploding. Now the drill's almost done exploding. I have to move because Toad's going to hit me, so I do a small slide, and you see I stop my slide as soon as I can, and avoiding Toad at the same time. Now he jumps at me again. I'm just going to jump off to the right because I want to get him closer to the center here. Again, shooting him. Now, this time he jumps. See, I wait for the explosion to disappear, then I slide, and stop my slide again to try to minimize my movement, and then finish him off here, so that he doesn't get another jump off. So the idea here, I'll show this one more time with unpaused here. But the idea is to try to minimize your left and right movement while drills are exploding. So you notice that even that one here where I jumped to the right there, notice that I jump after the drill explosion is already gone. So again, it's about the movement to the left and right that's important. You want to minimize that while there's explosions on screen. Waiting for it to disappear before sliding, that kind of thing. So it's a really, really, really minor time save compared to not worrying about that kind of stuff. But if you are really good at this fight, which you should be because it's a fairly easy fight, I definitely recommend trying to give that a shot and seeing if you can come up with a way to optimize your movement in a way that prevents you from wasting time to lag frames. Okay, So that's really all there is to this stage. It's pretty straightforward strats. It's kind of nice to see that we've gotten now through all 8 robots. I'm really been happy to see that some people have already been started to use these tutorials, and I'm really happy to see that people are interested in more of them. So I will likely dip into the castle stages as well. But for the time being, sort of, it's nice to get through all 8 robots. I'll probably take a little bit of a break, and then we'll start making ones for the Cossack stages and the Wily stages. So hopefully these tutorials have really helped you guys out. If you do, again, have any questions, definitely just send me a message on either Twitter or on Twitch. You can comment on these videos. Anyway, I'll try to be very proactive in responding as best I can, and try to answer just to the best of my ability. I do sort of have just a lot of random information built up in my brain on this game, just from digging and trying to find faster strats. If you ever come up with something that you feel might even be faster and easier than some of these strats that I've showed here, then definitely, just fire me off a message, and I definitely would be happy to take a look at anything that anybody recommends. So hopefully these tutorials, again, like I said, have been really helpful. And yeah, we'll see everybody again, hopefully, in the castle tutorials sometime soon. Thanks a lot, everybody, and take care.